Come on. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. Come on. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. Come on. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. Come on. Come on. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right.
Here we are, Bishopscourt, Diff and Drift, the setting for round 4 of the Lucky Day Competition's Irish Drift Series. It's the second visit to Bishopscourt and it's the penultimate round of the 2025 season. With a two-way tie at the top of the leaderboard, this may be the closest title fight we've seen in recent years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. My name is Eddie Power, and alongside me, as always, is good friend and Irish Drift legend, Mike Fitzgerald. Mike, what a season it's been so far. With just 2 rounds to go, things are so tight at the top, and we have one hell of a fight on our hands. 2 names have risen to the top of the bottle, and it is none other than Dwayne McKeever, who came out in flying form, won round 1 in Mondello Park, Mike. But since then, it's all been about one name and one name only, Harry Kerr, who is tied at the top with Dwayne McKeever. He beat him here at round 2. He won at Watergrass Hill, and he's back here to try and take a firm hold on the championship going into the final round. But will he be able to do it?
Well, Eddie, I'm not sure. It's going to be a crazy event, and I'm very, very much looking forward to exactly that battle at the top. Look at these 2 drivers here in front of us on the live stream. 2 guys at the very top of their game. We all know Dwayne McKeever. He's a European level driver. He can put it up to the best in the world when he wants to. But Harry Kerr, as you mentioned, has risen through the ranks of Irish drifting on 248 points. He's on a 2-round win streak at the moment, and he is coming in hot here to a relatively local track to him here in Bishopscourt. He's just up the road in Ballymoney. Dwayne also, of course, a Northern Irish driver. 2 relative locals to this track here in Bishopscourt, this World War II airfield that we're competing on this weekend. And I am absolutely psyched to see which way this one is going to go, because I was just speaking with these 2 guys and neither one of them are giving an inch.
No, certainly not, and it's a huge opportunity, Mike, you'd have to say, for Harry Kerr, because to win a championship is one thing, but to win a championship with a former champion on the grid like Dwayne McKeever, that is going to put a big asterisk beside the name of Harry Kerr. But it's not all about those 2 guys. We have other drivers in contention for maybe not the championship, but certainly best finishes. One name to note is none other than Dean Byrne, who jumped 7 places from round 3 to round 4 after that podium in Watergrass Hill. He now sits just outside the top 3 in the championship, and with the absence of Ryusei Akiba, Mike, he'll be looking at that as an opportunity to go into the final round and maybe take a top 3 finish in the championship. And what a huge year that would be for him.
Well, it would indeed, Eddie. I mean, there are 100 points available for an event win here in IDS this season, and of course there are 11 points available if you win qualifying, 10 if you come second in qualifying, qualifying, etc., etc. So there are actually 111 points available if you win qualifying, win the event. So you know what? Let's not count out Dean Byrne yet. Let's not count out Jakub Krzyzak. Let's not count out Fionn Roach either, Drift Masters driver, who is currently sitting in 6th position, because those guys are also, you know, you never know. We saw it yesterday in the Pro 2 Championship. We thought it was turning into a 2-horse race, and all of a sudden the championship just got blown wide open. We now have 6 or 7 drivers coming into the final round who could take the championship. Are we going to see something similar here this weekend? I'm not sure. You really can't ever count out Dwayne and Harry to have a very strong event, but I was just speaking with the guys. You know, it's a tough track on mechanicals. It's I was speaking with Harry Kerr's dad, Alwyn. He said that Harry was not getting 2 laps out of the tyres yesterday, so he actually changed the gearing, dropped the gearing of Harry Kerr's car to lower the wheel speed and make it possible for him to finish 2 laps. So it's a tough track. Mechanicals could come into it, and you know what? It's always unpredictable in IDS.
It certainly is a really important point. And another driver complaining of that is a driver who's back on the grid after a 2-year absence, Dylan Garvey, making the return in his 800 brake horsepower S13. 2 Garvey brothers making their return to competition this year. You spoke about the track, Mike. Well, let's talk about that track. If you've been joining us throughout the season, you'll recognise the track layout. It is identical to round 2. It's a 4 outer zone track, 2 D-cell zones, and plenty of scary wall runs. It's full throttle, it's knife edge. It's a chase driver's dream, but it's very, very difficult to see and gauge where you are on that initiation, Mike. And with a full dry track for the last 2 days, grip levels out there really very difficult. But those guys will be, look, these are the pro drivers, more than capable of dealing with it. As all, we have 3 judges in attendance: Kieran Hines and 2 Falveys. Connor Falvey, Drift Masters driver, sitting inside that top 10, I believe, in Drift Masters. And of course his father, Tomas Falvey, a wealth of experience, and probably the nicest thing I've ever said about him. A man who's been behind the wheel in pro competition for years in Ireland.
Not a great driver, but a good judge.
No, a good judge, good judge of character, like, you know.
Sorry, Tomas. Had to get that in there. But yeah, so I mean, Eddie, like you said, the track, it's a strange one. It's a not a lot of clipping points on this track, but very technical. And we spoke about the distance from zone 1 to 2 yesterday, so it is kind of a bit of a stretch to get over there for the cars. So a lot of technique is going to come into play here, Eddie, and we will take you guys through the qualifying scores as the runs progress. That they will explain themselves as such.
Exactly. So of course, as always, we are kicking off the show with qualifying, and each of our drivers will make 2 non-consecutive passes of the circuit, where they will be scored out of 100 by our judges. The higher of the 2 scores will count as their qualifying score, with our top 32 scoring drivers progressing to the battles. And of course, with only 37 drivers on the grid, the opportunity for those drivers to get into those 32 positions is very high. To find out how they're going to get that perfect run, 100 points, well, we're not actually going to discuss them, because we're going to go straight to the line here, as we have, as always here in the Irish Drift Series, Mike, we have the highest finishing drivers from yesterday's competition in the Pro 2 competing in the Pro class. We will run qualifying in reverse championship order, meaning those guys will be first out on track. And who's up first to put down a qualifying run?
It is Conor Duggan of CDM Sport. He's actually a series sponsor. Had a fantastic day yesterday. Has his car running the best it's ever been now, a V8 engine in this BMW. He's on road tyres, so Eddie, we never really delved into this. These cars, these pro cars, of course, on semi-slick racing tyres. Now, the guys who come up from yesterday might not quite have the horsepower sometimes to run the semi-slicks, because they make so much grip. So a lot of the Pro 2 competitors, interestingly, will be opting to use the road tyres that they were on yesterday. So let's see how that plays out.
Yeah, and of course those tyres being so grippy, it can also cause a lot of mechanical problems for cars if they try and run them. And so the guys that do qualify in from the Pro 2 will opt, particularly in qualifying, just to run those run the same tyres that they ran, the road tyres. And you know what, Mike, why not? Why put the car under any extra strain? It's already a win just to be able to put yourself in a position where you can put in a run on a Pro Sunday. And what a dream it is for a lot of these drivers, and a huge opportunity. And Conor Duggan, well, as you mentioned, he had a top 16 finish yesterday, Mike, but this guy, he's getting better every time he leaves the line. He is a hell of a driver, and somebody that's really growing and comfortable, growing more and more comfortable with each round. Nice fast initiation there from Conor Duggan, looking nice so far. Takes it down onto the wall into that second zone. Very hard to gauge exactly how deep you are into those zones, Mike, and Conor doing a really nice job of it. Leaves that zone nice and early to get himself set up for the transition. And you know what, not a bad way to start qualifying. A really solid run from Conor Duggan. May not have had the speed and the impact that we're going to see from some of the bigger names on the grid with the higher horsepower, but I think Conor Duggan's going to be delighted with that. should be a very reasonable score on the board.
Yeah, threw it in with a lot of angle there. Thought he was going to get caught out a little bit between 1 and 2 there, but overall it worked out, and it's an 80.7 for Conor Duggan, so a solid score on the board for him, which should actually see him into battle action later on with the pros. Now, moving it along to a man just north of Belfast, as we always say, Clark Hatton, an up-and-coming driver, one for the future, competed in Formula Drift Pro Spec last year in this car. It's a testing year in this car. The family tell me it's one year that he just wants to put down an IDS, get all the gremlins out of this car, get used to it, and then next year he's going to push hard. But you know what? He's after making his way through the Pro 2 class, and he's here on the Sunday with the pros.
Yeah, getting better and better every time. Oh, look at the angle here. Huge entry here from Clark Hatton. New clutch gone into this car for this weekend, and Clark doing a really nice job just holding that. But look, getting hard on the throttle. Look at the angle that he pulls through that second outer zone, that teardrop section of the circuit before he takes to the wall. Again, big angle here from Clark Hatton, and filling those outer zones quite beautifully. And that car looks to be working quite well. And as you said, Mike, this really is just a testing season for them. They're trying to learn a lot about this chassis, and slowly but surely getting there to where it needs to be. A 79.7 on the board for Clark Hatton.
Yeah, very similar score there to Conor Duggan. Clark Hatton is actually on the semi-slick tyres now. Man, back on road tyres again here. Bartek Plazecki, one of the stories of yesterday. Fantastic up-and-coming driver. We saw his dad Maciek competing for many years. Now Bartek is taking on the mantle. Let's see what he can do on the road tyres.
Yeah, and of course they refer to this car, Mike, as the bash car, okay? And it's, you know what, it's become such a steady, consistent component in Bartek's success that they have, put the big build on the long finger. What about this for a line again from Bartek? He's been an absolute unbelievable competitor all the way through the Pro 2 Championship this year, leading the Pro 2 rookie class, and again comes out, throws on. I mean, look, that's hard to pick fault with that. Again, you're not going to see the impact that you're going to get with some of the bigger horsepower cars in the grid, but Bartek putting in a 77.7.
Yeah, not
he'd
sure.
Be delighted to have had that opportunity to score with the pros.
Yeah, absolutely, he will, Eddie, for sure. I'm not sure if he dropped a wheel around outer zone 2 there for a little while. The judges, of course, have extra camera angles over us there, but it might have been just a little bit too deep into zone 2 there, losing him some points. Otherwise, a great lap there. Now, young Jamie Hines, the young man from Galway, whose bonnet came up yesterday, actually, and smashed the windscreen of this S14, but he got it back going, and Jamie Hines has made his way onto the pro grid in the S14. He's also on road tyres, Eddie. Yeah,
also on road tyres, but what a young driver Jamie has turned out to be. From coming here for the first time this year, he's competing in the junior class in Pro 2s, but what a drive from him yesterday. Huge qualifying scores put in. He has this track absolutely dialed. You can see the L plate on the back of the back and the front of this car, but there is seriously no learner. There's a bit of learning going on, but it's at a very fast pace. And again, a really nice line from young Jamie Hines, and his first time getting to compete with the pros, Mike, and you can just remember the name because he's going to be in this class for a long time, dominating, I expect.
Yeah, absolutely. He is definitely one for the future, and it's an 88.3 for Jamie Hines, putting him top of qualifying so far. Huge score straight off the bat for Jamie Hines there, so a fantastic run from him. Now, the man who took top step yesterday, Alex Butler, the Pro 2 junior driver, is after coming up through the ranks, Eddie, from the junior class, and look where he is.
Yeah, did the double yesterday, top qualifying, took the top step on the podium after an incredible drive. And this guy, well, it's his second outing in the pro class, Mike, because he did the same in Watergrass Hill, and he's here to put on a show once again. But another rising star, 17 years of age. I think he's 17, maybe 16, but
would actually be 16 as a junior driver. Yeah,
junior driver, yeah. So Alex Butler, unfortunate to say, Mike, twice I've faced him, twice he's beaten me, but look, give it a good go. But these young guys, they're so talented, and Alex Butler puts down a solid run. Where will the score drop in? A 78 for Alex Butler, so a nice start to his pro qualifying here this morning. So we move it back to the line, where it is Ole, feeling Scott back on an Irish grid here. Incredible to see this man back behind the wheel. And if you're not familiar with the name, well, get familiar with it pretty quickly, because this guy, about 5 or 6 years ago, was absolutely dominating in the Pro 2 class. Joined the Pro class and then decided to hang up the boots. Not on the perfect line into that first zone, Mike. But
yeah, Tomas Falvey's old car, actually one of our judges' old cars here. Lee Scott, one of the best chase drivers I've ever seen in my whole life. Really comes alive in the battles, but as you say, Eddie, he has to get there first, get through qualifying. And let's see if he is indeed feeling Scott, and I think he is, judging from that run.
Yeah, look, I think needs to sort out the entry. The entry is quite difficult, particularly if you haven't had quite a number of laps around the circuit. A 71 on the board for Lee Scott.
Uncle of Harry Kerr, actually.
Uncle of Harry Kerr, I believe.
Yeah.
Learned that information this morning.
Yeah, Uncle of Harry Kerr is Lee Scott. So a family affair here at IDS. And we move it along to the next driver. It is Dylan Garvey on the line.
Yeah, Dylan Garvey.
Brand new build.
Yeah, in that brand new build, 800 horsepower. He said he couldn't, like you were alluding to earlier on, couldn't keep the tyres on this car. It's an absolute beast, and looking to... Oh, look at this, Mike. Huge flick to angle for Dylan Garvey. And, well, a former Drift Masters driver, an incredible pilot behind the wheel. And look at the line, Mike. Fills those zones beautifully. Full throttle throughout the circuit. Very little decel. Just a quick dab of the front brake just to settle the car on angle as he makes that transition and fulfills that final zone. Goes across the line. Huge run from Dylan Garvey. I would expect to see that go very close to the top.
Yeah.
It doesn't go top though, Mike. An 83 is all it is for Dylan Garvey.
Yeah, significant correction there on zone 3. You saw the lock up on the front with the left foot brake and a big, correction of angle. So a few points left on the board there in the Fuel Lab 180, but definitely more in the tank for Dylan Garvey. Now next up it is Justas Aranskas in the very distinctive BMW 1 Series. Leaving the line now, our Star Marshal Kevin gives him the go ahead. Up through the gears as hard as the BMW will go, drags the handbrake on the way in. The judges do want to see a flick onto angle and a minimal handbrake use if possible on the way in, so he will lose a couple of points for that. Nothing too major though. Leaves zone 2 a little bit early as well. Not a perfect run for a pro run here for Justas Aranskas. Still will definitely get a good score on the board. Well, a score on the board, but a little bit messy there from Justas, just showing, maybe the track gripping up a little bit, Eddie. Those semi-slicks are laying down a lot of rubber. Maybe the track conditions are just gripping up according as the day gets a little bit warmer here.
Yeah, well, that's exactly it, Mike. You can see the sun is coming out. Well, the sun has been out, but, as the day goes on, those temperatures starting to rise. Those track conditions changing so quickly around here as we skip over 2 drivers now, skipping Mark McKevitt and Damien Wilkinson. Not sure what's going on with both of those drivers. If we hear information, we will pass it on, but we move back to the start line where it is Davin Leahy. And Davin Leahy, you know what, he's down the order, Mike. I don't think he's competed every round this year, but what a driver this young man is.
Yeah, fantastic driver, not having the season that he would have wanted. Lots of mechanical issues with this V8 GT86 LS engine under the bonnet in the Toyota. So it's a GM 6.7 litre, I believe it is, V8 under the bonnet. Crazy build, and using all of that torque here, Eddie, in order to negotiate the very difficult, very technical Bishopscourt track, and a good job by Davin. Yeah,
really good job. Davin Leahy doing exactly what you'd expect to see from him, Mike. He's always a solid contender at any track, and an 83.7 sees him right up the order, drops into second position, so just slightly ahead of Dylan Garvey, but not able to match the junior driver Jamie Hines with an 88.3. That bar being set fairly early on, and just goes to show the level of talent that we have in the pool blood in Ireland here. As we move back to the start line where it is Sean Watt in the underpowered E36. It's a 4-door masquerading as a 3-door, and Sean, with plenty of practice here on Friday, pretty much had the track to himself. He says he's enjoying the car this weekend and hoping for a little bit of a turn of fortune, because he has been the underpowered hero. But he dials on too much angle, Mike, and gets caught out.
Yeah, it looks like Sean, I'm not sure, he seemed to have slight over rotation on initiation as well, and got caught out, went a little bit tight, so maybe the car not playing ball with him. Looked okay in practice, but just all falling apart unusually for Sean Watt there.
Yeah, and I think that's quite uncharacteristic in terms of an error for Sean, so maybe some issues with that car. As we go back to the start line where it is the team boss at Davy Enterprises, it is Nicky Davy getting ready to leave the line.
Yeah, the evil genius Nicky Davy, running 3 cars, of course, in IDS, driving his son Dean's car, which was campaigned yesterday, but running very wide there. Nicky coming in hot, and it goes all wrong for him. Runs super wide on the way in, and then tries to get it back, but almost crosses the track into the water barriers there. So very, very sketchy run here from Nicky Davy. It's not a 0 for 2 wheels off, but it'll be a huge, huge deduction here, Eddie.
Yeah, just wrestling with the car, I think, Mike, and even as he came from outer zone 2 to outer zone 3, just didn't seem to have that line right. Went quite deep and flirted with dropping more wheels. So we'll see how the score phases out for Nicky Davy. Will it be a score, Mike?
I think he's still going to get a score because it wasn't 4 wheels off, but it's going to be a very, very big deduction for Nicky.
Yeah, judges still having a discussion on this one, of course. We have 2 Falbys, Tomas and son Connor.
Yeah, and of course, the higher you Sorry, the higher you qualify, again, the better theoretical draw you have for the top 32. So it's really important to get a high qualifying spot. And it's just 20 for Nicky Davy there, unfortunately.
So leaving the line, next up it is David Curtis in the TH Components S14.9.
Yeah, steady entry there from Dave Eddy. Exactly what you think you're going to see from David Curtis. Nice and steady, nothing too crazy. Gets the job done in the SR20 powered S14.
Yeah, really steady driver is Curtis, and on his day, Mike, more than capable of a podium. We have seen him podium in the past, but in his rookie season in the Pro Championship, he's really up against it this year. But you know what? Always a steady competitor, and a score of 80.7 on the board, and he'll be absolutely delighted with that. Yeah,
I always pity the clutch on that car so much. Has to clutch kick the SR so hard to just get it working with these semi-slicks, the smaller 4-cylinder SR20. So definitely a hard life for that transmission, but held together for that one. Now our first female competitor, it's Adrienne Wheatley in the PS13 with 2JZ power, making her way into the Pro class this season, and looking very comfortable there, Eddie.
Yeah, looking very comfortable as always is Adrienne. A very steady driver, Mike. Rare to see too many mistakes from Adrienne. Looked like the car maybe bogged down a little bit just as you come through that second outer zone, but maybe not. Maybe just our viewpoint. But Adrienne, you know, really coming into her own again in her rookie season in the Pro Championship, and she just doesn't look out of place at all. But I think she's just needs that little bit of a turn of fortune, I think, and she could see herself, you know, battling for maybe some top 8 spots. But definitely the ability is there, the driver, the car is there, and Adrienne drops into 9th position with a 72.
Yeah, exactly, 72. The man from Killycanavan Road, it is Kevin Quinn on the line, I believe, next, if my sheet is correct. And through the tyre smoke, I definitely see the front of an S15, and it wouldn't be like Kevin Quinn to not drive an S15, so it's probably him. I'm not sure if I've ever seen him driving anything else, Mike, so apart from his rally car.
Exactly.
He'd nearly rally an S15 at this stage, I'd say.
He certainly would. Well, here we go, Kevin Quinn in DY Engines S15, and as always, very aggressive style entry for Kevin Quinn, and fills that first outer zone nicely. Just see how much speed they have to scrub, Mike, to get into that second zone, and very easy just to tap the wall and knock yourself offline. But Kevin Quinn doing a nice job of scrubbing that speed. Again, big pull of the handbrake. Judges be watching for that. It is a diesel zone, but maybe just a little bit too much speed being scrubbed by Kevin as he gets across the line. I'm not sure if that one's really going to contend for top spot, Mike.
Yeah, powered by Link ECU there, the Quinn M Sport distinctive red, white and black livery of Kevin Quinn. Always exciting, always on the limiter, and it's an 83.3 for Kevin Quinn. So a lot of those scores, Eddie, once again now starting to clump around the high 70s, low 80s, and again we are in reverse championship order, so the scores should theoretically increase as we go along. Now, a man who had massive transmission issues, they were on Instagram last night fixing this gearbox at 2 o'clock in the morning. It's young Owen Magner from just basically across the road from James Dean in Castletown Road, Killavullen even, in County Cork. And another one for the future, Eddie, but plagued with mechanical issues this year is Owen Magner.
Yeah, and you know what, forget about the future, Mike. I just like nothing more than to see Owen have a good drive today with no mechanical problems, because if ever there's a young man that deserves a break and a little bit of good rub of the green, it is that young man. We've talked about him as being a driver for the future, but it's all about the here and now for him, and an 86 puts him into 2nd position. He's going to be delighted with that. If he can keep that car going, Mike, he is a real contender here for the top spot today.
Yeah, 2.2 or even slightly more SR22 in that crazy build there, ex-Dennis Murphy Pro car, and like you said, if he can keep that car together, he is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Now Sean O'Curry's on the line, another man who has had his share of mechanical issues in this GT86. It's RB powered, it's a crazy build, and Sean O'Curry, a driver well capable of getting the most out of it, drags the handbrake a little bit as he enters the track there. Once again, the judges want to see a snap to angle if possible in qualifying here, but not a huge deduction. So Sean O'Curry probably sitting on, so far, you got to say he's still sitting on a high 80s here. Maybe not perfect through 3. Gets the car transitioned back, nothing too crazy. Maybe I could have a slightly more outside line there, but overall, once again, a solid banker lap for the first one for Sean O'Curry.
Yeah, and jumps him into 6th position, and 82.7. That car really picks up speed at such a high pace. As we go back to the man who qualified well in 1st position at round 3, but unfortunately then ended up being knocked out in the top 32.
Absolutely, Eddie,
Jason
correct, yeah.
McInerney will be looking for a similar run in qualifying, Mike, but a better performance and a better result in the battles as he gets ready to leave the line for his first run of his 2 qualifying runs.
Yeah.
Very early initiation.
Yeah, a little bit too early, Eddie. Caught him out there, left zone 1 way too early there. So Jason McInerney, once again, uncharacteristically, maybe feeling the nerves in the Pro Class a little bit. Went with 2 JZ power this season and upgraded the car massively. It's a big step up to the Pro Class. The grip levels are hugely different. The power levels are hugely different. Now this is a little bit more Jason McInerney that we're used to. The man from Clare, so consistent as a rule, but maybe not the perfect entry
Looked
yet.
to me, Mike, as if he had 2 different things in his head, and he was half of both of them, and that's what maybe put him wrong on the initiation. But the score drops in for Jason McInerney.
77.7.
77.7. Now the man who took him out in the top 32, it is Johnny the Falcon Flynn. And Johnny, well, a man who, again, we've spoken about in the past, just not having the most amount of mechanical luck. But when he has this car running right, can certainly make it move. Not the perfect line on the entry there, Mike. In and out of that first zone. And just, you can see, is it battling with the grip levels? He said to me he changed the diff ratios in the car earlier on this morning. He was much happier with it, but it just seems as though this track is different every time you come out onto it.
Yeah, Eddie, I think you made a great point there with the grip levels. According as the temperatures have increased here in County Down in Northern Ireland, I think the track is gripping up a little bit. You can see the drivers there just starting to shove into the inside of the track a little bit more, and it's catching them out. So if the spotters, it's the spotters' job to get onto their drivers and say push it a little bit harder here because the track is gripping up. So Johnny Flynn does get a score, and it is a 76 for Johnny Flynn. And we move it back to the Red Bull start line, and it is Darrell Barnett after getting the go ahead from our start line marshal Kevin. Darrell Barnett, super experienced competitor, once again slightly on the inside there around zone 1. Not the perfect initiation from Darrell Barnett. Now he's back on line here around the outside of zone 2. Beautiful line there, just leaves it a tad early, nothing major. Gets it turned back on full throttle in the 1JZ powered BMW, and full throttle once again hits the limiter, maybe not out to the very outside of the track, but generally on the right line, and it's another solid run. I think it's going to go into the middle of that group as well. Yeah, 84. So still a good solid run there. Puts Darrell Barnett actually into 3rd position there, but just in the high 80s he'll still want to do better. Again, higher you qualify, the better a draw you have. First place qualifier faces off against 32nd, second place 31st, etc. And you also get championship points for qualifying, up to 11 points for winning. So Damien McKiernan is a man who can put in a huge run. The man of DMAC Motors, some fantastic stock up there, beautiful BMWs and some great cars. Very easy place to spend money, I would say, DMAC Motors, and always entertaining, Eddie, always absolutely crazy with the RB powered 180SX.
Yeah, I've actually been to his garage, Mike. It's very well set up shop and operation that he has going on. And again, you know what, Mike, really solid run here from Damien. Again, another pro rookie this year in the Irish Drift Series, but maybe just struggling with the grip levels. 79.7, and look, nice banker laps.
Nice banker laps, yeah.
And it gives them the opportunity to push a little bit harder.
And I think they actually took some power out of that engine in order to gain some reliabilities. He mentioned to me during the week. So Paulius is on the line. He is suspicious.
He's nutritious.
He is nutritious. Let's see if his lap is going to be delicious. It's Paulius judicious.
Yeah, definitely one of the more relaxed drivers on the grid. And Paulius, nice initiation. Not as deep into that zone as he maybe would have been looking for, but does fulfill the zone. Scrubs that speed as he comes into that tight, tricky section of the circuit. But you know what, Mike? Once you get to that point, it really flows from here if you're on the right line. And Paulius showing that is the case. Crosses the line, fills that zone nicely in the final zone. Really solid run there from Paulius, and looking comfortable out there. A man that's more than capable of doing it. At 76.3 on the board for him.
Yeah, liking his commitment there. Maybe not technically perfect, so if he can keep that level of commitment and tidy it up a little bit, I think he's in for a score in the high 80s. Now we move it along to the man on the line. It is Ben Rogers, and we have the fan of the year given at the awards night, Jack Rogers. One of Ben's long-standing crew is not here this weekend. First drift event ever missing because of musical commitments. So Jack Rogers not in attendance for the first time ever, but his very, very hard driving driver is definitely showing up for work here, because Ben Rogers is on a beautiful outside line in the CDM Sport S14. Look at this, a big hard transition from Ben Rogers. Snaps that S14 onto angle, and you know what, Eddie?
This is a big run.
That's
Mike.
a big run.
That is a big run.
I think this might beat Jamie Hines. It's up there with Jamie Hines' run.
I think this could be going into the 90s,
Oh,
Mike.
just 87, Eddie. Just
87.
shy.
So Judge is not liking it as much as we were, but as you mentioned, number one fan Jack will be watching on, and I think he'll be happy with that one, as will Ben. maybe
Absolutely.
too much angle at times, maybe.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
not sure. It was a chaseable. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Not sure what the judge was saying. I just stood back and watched it. Well, you called it, Mike. I thought it was pretty top class.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Drifting is
But look,
cool.
we're looking at it from a different point of view.
Drifting is cool.
Yep.
Yeah, so Kevin, our start line marshal, is just having a look under the bonnet here of In the Lines 180 SX, and In the going with the ever reliable 6-cylinder power for this season. Campaigned an SR20 for many years up through the Pro 2 class in this car, made the jump up to a 6-cylinder turbo power in order to compete in the Pro class. Hopefully all is right with that 6-cylinder. Kevin seems to be happy enough. And of course we are on a light system here, so Kevin will make eye contact with the driver. He'll be waiting for the signal from Sean here, our track controller, to say track is clear. Then Kevin makes eye contact with the driver. Driver says okay, engages gear, and it goes off you go then in qualifying. So yeah, thumbs up, as you can see, off you go. And In the Lines leaves the line, the Red Bull start line here at IDS, and let's see what he can do, Ed.
Yeah, well, Enda leaves the line. As you say, Mike moved up to the 6-cylinder for this year, and I spoke with him earlier on, said he's feeling the nerves a lot more than he ever did before in the past. He says more power means less excuses, and he's coming here to try and get it done this weekend, and with 2 rounds of the championship, a little dab of the foot brake just to settle the car there at outer zone 3 before he transitions nicely into that final zone and gets across the line. No sign of nerves there for Enda Lines. He's looked really confident and smooth out there throughout the run, and I think that should be in the 80s. Yes, an 83.3 for Enda Lines, so a nice little nerve settler for him as we move back to the start line, where David Garvey, the second of our Garvey brothers, sits and awaits his first run. You mentioned those traffic lights, Mike, or that traffic light system only used in the battles.
Yeah.
I think mainly just down to the amount of time it takes to go from red all the way to green, so it's easier just to let
it actually came into play yesterday. We actually had a jump start and it affected the battle, so the traffic light system working yesterday.
Yeah, really is
sure.
a great system.
Now David Garvey, brand newly built car, seen a lot of this myself at Group D, and it's quite the build, and he's still obviously getting used to this brand new built S13, but you know what, looking at him in practice, he might be one to watch, Ed.
Well, you have to remember, Mike debuted this car at this very venue, at round 2, and had quite a performance. He's well up the order in the championship, having even missed round 1. So certainly gelling with it's a chassis that he's familiar with. It.
Whoa, right on the wall as well.
Right on the wall is right, Mike, and these beautiful drone shots that we can see, and you can just see how nicely he leaves that zone, gets into that third zone a little bit early, but I don't know, does he wash a little bit too far?
I think he took out the drone there already.
Yeah, that time into that transition between outer zone 3 and outer zone 4, Mike, really important, and certainly an aspect of it, the run that the judges will be watching with a close eye. An 87.7, he just misses out on top spot, but goes second for now. David Garvey came to play.
On the podium, of course, in the last round, in Nathan Corcoran's borrowed E46 with 800 brake horsepower. So David Garvey, took a lot of time out of the sport and coming in hot, but we got to move it on. It's Jack Caldwell, the young man from Strabane, coming in hot here in his older brother Ryan's XS15 650 brake horsepower, 2JZ power under the bonnet. Jack Caldwell still, I believe, is he 16, Eddie? Even at this stage he seems to be around 15 years of age, this young man is, and look what he's doing behind the wheel of this beautiful S15. Left foot brakes are there, beautiful technique, doesn't matter for qualifying, gets the car steadied up, perfect outside line, great technique from Jack Caldwell, keeping up the Caldwell family name, and that is going to be a big score, and it is indeed 88.7 for young Jack Caldwell there, just 15 years of age. Crazy stuff here in IDS. Now Jack Mahoney, I was speaking with him as well, he was almost wanting to drive the Corolla that he had at round 2 there and campaign to 4th position in the wet, but he said they had a couple of mechanical issues over the weekend, a couple of oil pressure issues, but his tuner has told him, drive it, just go for it, drive it, she's good, she's going to hold together. And Jack Mahoney is a hard pilot, and he's proving that here. Look at this entry from Jack Mahoney, the best entry so far of today. He might have knocked the cones, but that's just to show the drivers exactly where the edge of the track is. Did he have a wheel off there? Possibly. We'll have to go to the judges for that one, but overall pretty much the best outside line that we have seen so far this weekend. Maybe could have been half a foot further left there, but overall a fantastically aggressive run there from Jack Mahoney. Did he drop the wheel? The judges liking it, Eddie. It's an 88.7, putting him tied in top with Jack Caldwell. So reverse championship order coming into play here, Eddie. The bigger drivers starting to knock in the runs here, and the Lucky Day Competitions Red Bull Irish Drift Series is definitely heating up here at round 4, the penultimate round of course of the championship, where it is all to be decided. And Stephen Halferty, he is one driver who has so much promise. He always looks so good when he had the M3 power in his last car, Eddie. He's gone to Jay-Z. We always said that he needed more power. That's all Stephen Halford he needs. This is a testing year for him, but he is one of those guys who on his day, he can win this event, no problem whatsoever. And look at this, he's always so consistent, always so reliable, Eddie, and such a technically gifted driver.
Yeah, really technically gifted, fantastic line driver, but also very, very consistent, very difficult to take down in a battle because he doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes, Mike. Very rarely would you see Stephen Halford, he put himself out of competition, and that's what makes him, or one of the aspects that makes him such a steely competitor. And a really solid first run for Stephen at 84.7. Seen a lot of scores in the 80s, and at the moment, with not even the full round of runs done, top 15 drivers scoring in the 80s, Mike. So scoring very high early doors here as we move back to the start line, where it is the Pro 2 champion from 2024. Jakub Kuszczak almost took the double, the Pro 2 and the Pro Championship in last year's championship season. Now in his first full season of Pro, right up the order, not contending as closely as he would have liked, but as you said, Mike, 111 points on offer here for if he was to top qualifying and take the win. That could put him right in contention, but it really would depend on the two drivers at the top having a poor performance, but certainly a top 3 finish in the championship well within the grasps here for Jakub Kuszczak.
Yeah, huge aggression there from Jakub on the limiter on the 2JZ all the way around that track there. Sounded fantastic, and it's an 84.3 for Kuba. Jakub Kuszczak putting him on his first qualifier straight into 8th position, and he has championship hopes, that's for sure, Eddie. He's sitting in 4th in this championship now. As we stand as such, because we're missing a couple of drivers, so definitely make his way up. Now Dean Byrne is actually sitting 4th in the championship after Ryusuke Akiba, who will be passed out by these guys. So should Dean Byrne have a good event, who knows what's going to happen here, Eddie. He's got the style, he's got the aggression. Can he get it all together?
Well, he's also going to have that confidence now of knowing that he has what it takes to get a podium at the Irish Drift Series in the Pro class. Sits approximately 49, 50 points off that third step. Third position in the championship, so he'll know here that a good run would give him an opportunity, and as you say, what an opportunity that would be to finish top 3 in the championship in only your second season as a pro driver. Will be a huge feat for a driver who's been knocking on the door for quite some time. He's always felt as though he's had the capabilities of competing right up there at that top level, and we wait the score to drop in. For Dean Byrne, it's an 83.3. You've seen these big runs. You expect to see them jumping in at the top, but the scoring so high. 14th position is all it is. Now, second in the championship, first in the championship, but tied on points.
Yeah, tied with Dwayne.
With Dwayne McKeever. It is none other than Harry Kerr. Big flicked angle for Harry Kerr as he fulfills that outer zone, and the big runs are coming here, Mike.
Wow, the
hot
angle.
And fast.
Yeah, huge angle there from Harry as he entered the second zone. I mean, this is what it's all about, Eddie. This is what it's coming down to. Here are the best in the business in this country at the moment as the limiter gets absolutely abused here. 2JZ power. Wow, that sounds so severe on the car, Eddie. Backfiring through the limiter there. I mean, I'm sure Alwyn there and Geraldine Kerr, they'll be holding their ears here and hoping that 2JZ holds together. And Harry Kerr shows why he's top in this country at the moment, guys. It's a 93 for Harry Kerr, putting him top in qualifying. But there is one man who wants to take him down more than anybody else here, and that is the man on the line at the moment, Eddie.
Yeah, well, Mike, this is personal at this stage for Dwayne McKeever, because this is back-to-back. Harry beat him at this venue. It's back-to-back wins for Harry. People are starting to forget about the name Dwayne McKeever and thinking this is Harry's championship, even though they're tied on points. But here we go, the Northern Smoke Machine, the man with more championships to his name than any other driver on the grid here. And Dwayne McKeever fires it into the first corner. Big flicked angle there as he tries to scrub that speed, but gets straight back onto the heavy right foot pedal and just smokes out the venue here in Bishopscourt. Takes it to the wall at the third outer zone. Big flicked angle and goes deep into that outer zone, crosses the line, and Dwayne McKeever came to play, but will it be enough to top Harry Kerr's 93? We are about to find out.
I think he's just after topping Harry, and he's not. The judge is not like it as much as myself.
You know what, Mike, that score dropping in, I didn't think it was as good as Harry's run.
I like the aggression.
Perfectly honest, I like the aggression, but I just think Harry's had the aggression, but also was a little bit more technically, in tune. There's certainly not a whole lot in at 4 points, if even 4 points, but things are really hotting up between these two, and the early advantage an early psychological win
Yeah.
is with Harry Kerr.
But Dwayne McKeever is a qualifying expert, and he can knock in a 97 just as easy as anything, Eddie.
Dwayne McKeever, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got a treat for you guys as well if you're here in attendance, or if you're watching at home on YouTube. We will have a meet and greet with the drivers down on track. All the cars will be on track just after qualifying here, just before we have a lunch break. So get yourself onto the track. We'll be opening up the track. You can meet your favourite drivers, check out the cars, have a chat with them, and we will also be doing interviews with the drivers, quick chat with them all. So if you're watching from home, be sure to stay tuned. You can put a face to the name and maybe see some interviews and see some footage with your favourite drivers, so stick around for that. And of course we are back for top 32 battle action after that. And if you are in the locality, be sure to make your way down. The main part of the show is still to come. Battle action, of course, as Conor Duggan gets us into our second round of qualifying. Snaps the BMW a little bit off track on entry, but the judges won't be penalising that much on entry because the cars just have to enter from the right hand side a little bit, Eddie, in order to maintain their line through zone 1. So not a big deduction there for sure for Conor Duggan, making the BMW V8 work very hard. Does it sound a little bit sick, Eddie? It does, yeah. I mean, a V8 is very hard to hear a misfire in, but I don't think that car sounds as clear as it should. And it's an 80, once again, 8-0 for Conor Duggan. Very consistent scores, doesn't improve. We move it along to a man who will want to improve. Once again, the higher you qualify, the theoretical at least better draw you have in that top 32 is Clark Hatton on the line. Yeah, so he is indeed safe, regardless of what happens. Tries to bring out the big run by flicking it in on big angle. Doesn't quite work out for Clark there. Also flicks it into big angle. Does work out for him second time around though into zone 2 as the tyre smoke pours into the cabin here to us at IDS in the tower. And fantastic driving style there into zone 2 from Clark. Gets it transitioned back once more. Billows tyre smoke around the airfield here in Bishopscourt, and as we mentioned yesterday, Eddie, crazy to think that this airfield once was alive to the sound of Lancaster bombers and Spitfires, etc., and now it is alive to the sound of 2 JZs and whatever else you have, absolutely being worked even harder, I would say.
Yeah, it certainly is. So we move back to the start line where Bartek Blazejewski?
Yeah, Blazejewski.
Blazejewski
That's
Jr.
what I'm told anyway.
Yeah, so guaranteed a spot in the top 32 regardless of what happens on this run. But look at this for a line straight from the off here from Bartek.
Yeah, you see the different techniques there, Eddie. Actually, Bartek using momentum to get the much underpowered, way less power in this car. So less angle, use momentum to get him through the first zone there rather than sheer and utter wheel speed and power. So nice technique there from Bartek, driving the car as it needs to be driven, basically with a little bit of momentum. And you know what, Eddie? Yeah, almost perfect line there.
Almost perfect, yeah. And I mean, look, really, really impressive for a driver in a very underpowered car. And look at this, Mike, an 86.7 for Bartek jumps him inside the top 10 to 8th position in Pro.
Yeah, he's a great driver. He just
bash car.
He just has it. He just has it. I can't wait to see where his career will take him. And now we move it along to another guy who just has it, who has a career in front of him. On an 88.3 so far. It's his second lap. It's young Jamie Hines from Galway. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, well, you mentioned, Mike, a young driver who just has it. He really has it, and he has it in spades. And he's absolutely wowed us this year, and he's just getting better and better. Look at the line here from Jamie Hines. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, right.
Another short king as well, so shout out to Jamie Hines. Rocking it for just like you and me, Mike. But he actually has a bit of talent.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, an 88.3 for a junior driver in the pro class, in 3rd position now with an 89. Guys, give it up for Jamie Hines.
Yeah, I thought maybe
incredible.
Maybe his transition between 1 and 2 could have just carried a little bit more style, and with that I think he was in the 90s, but overall a great lap there from Jamie Hines. Now Alex Butler, who won the Pro 2 competition yesterday, remember he's a junior driver. We have 3 classes within the Pro 2, junior, rookie and Pro 2 outright. He's a junior driver who won Pro 2. He's on Westlake. They got semi-slick tyres for the competition. Not sure if he's using them for qualifying, but he has a turbo BMW engine under the bonnet of this BMW. So the car's original engine basically, but turboed, which is crazy stuff. And you know what? He's also a driver, Eddie, who looks very much at home in the pro class.
Oh, it's such a steady, confident driver. You can just see how he flicks that car onto angle, Mike, with just effortless ease, and it's just so apparent how the amount of talent that these young guns have here. And I keep saying it.
Wow.
It's an 86.7 for Alex Butler, but I keep saying it, Mike. Give it 4 years,
Yeah,
5
I was
years,
just
and this
thinking
pro
it.
championship in this country is going to be electric. It's probably going to be the most competitive it's ever been, because the talent coming through the ranks.
It's crazy, man.
It's crazy, and
Yeah.
they're not just young. They're kids. They're teenagers. They have some of them not even done junior certs. Most of them haven't done leaving certs. I mean, I think this country has such a bright future, and if you're not watching the Pro Championship, it's probably one of the most competitive drifting championships in the world. We go back to the start line though, where it is Lee Scott. Is he feeling hot? He certainly is this time around. He's got that entry. He was able to make the correction, Mike, instantly on that entry, and he is now riding the fine line here around Bishopscourt and absolutely nailing that outer line. This is looking much improved from Lee Scott, and expect to see this climb right up the order. Could be a little bit deeper into the final zone. Maybe not to finish to the lap that he was looking for.
Yeah.
But to be able to just turn the screw so quickly there, an 87.3 from a 71, instantly able to adapt to the conditions.
One of the best drivers in the country, Eddie. A little bit out of practice, of course, but I think he put in a safe run there. Could have carried more angle through 3 a little bit, but overall, I think he knew what he was doing. He said, I'm going to take it handy here, put in a good solid score, get myself up the board for a battle later on, and I'm going to let my chase driving do the talking, because this guy's one of the best chasers in the country.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to put in a handy 87. So here we go. Dylan Carvey looking to put in a handy 90 here with big angle. Sits on an 83.3. He won't be happy with that. He'll want to see himself further up the order. As Mike alludes to, strictly speaking, should lead you towards an easier battle the higher up the order you are. But with the level of competition here, I'm not so sure. As Garvey, hard on the foot brake again.
Left foot braking there,
just making that correction, Mike. And maybe just getting that transition, just maybe the timing of it just needs to improve there, just to make the run a little bit smoother for Dylan Garvey. I mean, we're picking at hairs here, but we're talking about guys that are, of a really high caliber. But look at this, a 92.7 for Dylan Garvey drops him into second position, and now puts a little bit more room in between Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, I was wondering, would the judges mark him down a little bit on style for the left foot brake, but I don't think so. Dylan Garvey was bang on line there and getting rewarded for it as a result.
Yeah, and I think, we've been talking about a championship and, 2 contenders. He may not be in contention for a championship, but Dylan Garvey may be here to spoil the party for Dwayne McKeever and Harry Kerr, and we need to watch the bracket very closely to see how that pans out. Justus Aranskas, 65.7 on the first run in the Autofab.
Yeah, once again drops a wheel there, Eddie. Did it on the first one as well, if I remember correctly. Trying very, very hard here, but maybe trying a little bit too hard, dropping the wheel and getting deducted. I would say around about 10 points as a result for that wheel drop. So the judges won't be giving him a huge score here, but it's definitely an improvement, I would say, overall from Justice, and always good to see that car on track. And I can see Mark McKevitt, who actually had some bent steering, didn't do his first run. He's warming his tyres, and Justice does improve. It's a 75.3 for Justice Aranskas, getting him a little bit better up the
28
order.
position, but he will be safe, Mike.
He will be safe.
He should be anyway. We do have 2 drivers that didn't complete a run on the first round, but they are on the grid now. Mark McKevitt being the first one of those. 6 foot and 9 inches, I believe. Very tall guy. So here we go. Mark McKevitt leaves the line, and you know what, Mike? New build for this year. I was just about to say.
The 180s, I think it's a little bit sick, Eddie. We saw him have a moment there in practice, almost hit the wall in practice. Definitely battling with some bent steering issues here, but the guys have got it out for qualifying. The beauty of that is if he gets a score on the board here and it does qualify him, and we are only going to have like about 33 cars here in qualifying, so I think this should be enough to qualify him, and they're going to have a lot of time to fix that car for the battles.
Exactly, and what's interesting is that he did seem to be gelling with the car a lot better. He was nervous, brand new build in some of the earlier rounds, and struggled just to drive the car with the commitment that it needed. And the score drops in for Mark McKevitt, 59.3, sees him inside the top 32. Now next on the line, it is Damien Wilkinson in the borrowed car from Callum Coogan.
That's Callum Coogan's car, exactly.
One of the most borrowed cars, I think, in the championship.
It is
Callum Coogan's
it is.
E36. He'll give it to anybody.
The village car is what it is.
The village car. So here we go. Damien Wilkinson, never driven this car before, Mike. And, I can sympathise completely with him, because I did this very thing at the last time we were here. I borrowed the car for qualifying, and that first corner, when you're not used to the car you're driving, is so tricky.
Yeah, it's tricky even if you're very used to the car that you're driving, to be honest, as he rolls over Callan Coogan's poor bumper. Callan Coogan maybe regretting his decision here. Damien Wilkinson, a seasoned competitor, often practiced and possibly battled him myself, but doing a job there in the car, doing his best. Does he get a score? It's a 0 for Damien Wilkinson, so it's a 0. So 4 wheels off there, I would say the judges seeing our total loss of drift. So it's 0 for Damien Wilkinson, unfortunately. A big ask, Eddie, to do that.
Especially with only one run, a car you've never driven, and so hard to gauge that entry, Mike, with the grip level, just trying to get, your sight on where your initiation points. There's no real reference marks on the track, so it can, certainly from where, for someone of my ability anyway, it was very hard just to find that consistency through that first corner. So I can only imagine for Damien, obviously very difficult.
It's kind of like Mondello, that corner. It's full commitment. You have to get it right from the get-go. And if you have anything that's not perfect on the entry to that corner, just like Mondello's first corner, you're in big trouble. You're not going to get it back. So a big ask for sure. Yeah,
exactly. And we also saw, it's very easy. We've seen accidents going into that first corner in battles, but also yesterday in practice, just ahead of qualifying, there was a driver with a big crash going into that first corner, very late initiation, so it's so tough to get it right. But a man who's getting it right is Davin Leahy as he leaves the line for his second run. 83.7 on the first run, so well inside that top 32, safe for battle action. This one just to try and bump himself up the order or just test the conditions. And Davin, as we always say, a really capable driver, just throws that car nicely on angle as he comes into that final zone and gets across the line. No heroics, no dramatics, no theatrics, just safe and comfortable. Will it be enough to improve on the first run? Very slightly, and 84.7, so looking very consistent out there.
Yeah, so once again, guys, IDS this season brought to you by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull, and we will mention all of our other sponsors according as the day goes on, and be sure to support those brands and Red Bull and Lucky Day Competitions supporting Irish drifting. And be sure to get in the comments as well, guys, on the live stream, and let us know what your thoughts as we go back to Sean Watt, who is sitting on a 0 so far, Eddie.
Yeah, had that spin at outer zone 3 on his first run, so just needs to put a score on the board with the numbers here today not being as high, so any score realistically here for Sean Watt will do, provided it's over a score of 20. I'd say it should be enough, but it's going to be much better than that. As you say, Sean Watt in that very modest E36, and I think that'll be enough.
Much better from Sean Watt.
Much better from Sean Watt, and as I said, he was really much happier with his driving this weekend. It's a score of 84.3, so it jumps him way up the order.
Much more Sean Watt.
Much more Sean Watt into 15th position. He's going to be delighted with that.
Yeah, and the man on the line here,
Nicky
Eddie.
Davey on the drop zone. He got a score of 20 on his first run, but I'm just looking, no other drivers left to go outside the top 32, so he is safe. But if he doesn't improve in that score, he's going to be faced with either Harry Kerr or Dwayne McKeever in the top 32. He's offline there. Well, it looked like a line, but it's actually, there's tarmac or concrete laid down on the tarmac here, and it can be a bit off-putting as to where exactly the drivers are on the course. So actually quite a good entry there from Nicky Davey. Much improved run this time around. Seems to have made all the corrections and necessary adjustments. Fulfills that outer zone deep into the final zone and goes across the line. Yeah,
what might not be immediately apparent if you're spectating is that track surfaces tend to change quite a lot as well across the surface, and you really have had to have plenty practice to know when the surface is going to change, and you can't react to it. It's too late when you're drifting. You have to preempt it, so you might need to clutch kick just before you get a section of extra grip or whatever, as you mentioned the concrete there. So Nicky Davey does improve definitely, Eddie, on that one. It's 24th position for him with an 80.3 for Nicky Davey, and we look back to the Red Bull ring on the start line, and it is the man with the SR20 S14 in the TH Components car. It is a man who made his way up to Pro 2 and is now in the Pro class. Lovely line from David Curtis as he enters the track and makes his SR20 suffer once again, Eddie. Hey.
Maybe not risking anything. It's an 80 on the board, so very simple. Nothing spectacular, I suppose, from David Curtis, but he is a steep competitor in the battles, and he's going to be a name that people will want to avoid when they see that top 32 grid sheet. Now, a lady on the grid, our first female pro driver, Adrian Weekend.
little bit early here from Adrian. Did she? Yeah, just a little bit early. She seemed to initiate maybe 10-15 feet too far up the track there. Got caught out on the first zone as a result. Oh, she's got a lot to do here, Eddie. The judges have a big emphasis on that first corner and initiation. So Adrian, I think at best here is going to be on a mid-80s if everything else is absolutely perfect. And it's not. She runs wide, so a little bit scrappy. She's just trying. It's the typical second run, Eddie. You try a little bit harder. You try something different. Hopefully it comes off that time. It didn't pay off for Adrian, so I don't see. Don't see her improving. 69.7, but she's still in there. 31st, yeah. Yeah, it's going to be tough. He'd like to join any party, Kevin. Any party Kevin Quinn is at it. Eddie, he doesn't even need an invite. He'll come anyway. He'll just gate crash the party. Yeah, usually, yeah, to be honest, yeah, exactly. I've battled this man myself a few times. A daunting battle. If you let him get away like a car lint from you, you're in big trouble because he's got so much smoke. You have to stick it to him from the get-go because you can't see him through his own tire smoke otherwise. Top competitor, a Drift Masters driver as well, on and off, of course, and runs the events up in Tullyroan there, and just a man very present in the scene.
Yeah, fantastic events that he runs in Tullyroan, and we pass it on the way to this venue if you're coming from Letterkenny or my neck of the woods. But always one of the highlights of the season, highlights of the year. We go under the lights in Tullyroan, and it's usually cold and wet and somewhat miserable in that respect. But the atmosphere is always electric, and it really makes for a special event. And
look at this, a rolling burnout on the way in from Kevin Quinn.
Yeah, rolling burnout, flat on the limiter. Not always worried about putting on the most technically spectacular run. It's all about the show for Kevin Quinn and just having as much fun behind the wheel as possible. If you ever get an opportunity to watch his onboard videos from his rally escapades, you can get a very good indication as to what Kevin Quinn is all about. But that poor engine, I don't know how it survives. It's a testament to DY Engines that is able to withstand the abuse that is thrown at it from Kevin Quinn.
I was actually I made my way over to the bike festival next door on the racetrack last night, and they were asking me, and it's a 77 for Kevin Quinn, doesn't improve, but the guys, I was speaking with a few road racers over there, and they were like, how do you build the engines? They're on the limiter all the time, aren't they? They were fascinated by the drifting as I am by the road racing, and they said, how do you build these engines to take the abuse? And I said, I don't know, they just seem to stay going, the 2Js at least. Maybe not the SR22s, but hopefully for Owen Magner.
Don't say it, Mike. Just don't say it.
Hopefully the SR22 holds together for Owen Magner, because he's flicking in his SIL 8180 SX, and a lot better this time. You know what? Owen Magner, gearbox put back together last night. I think the Malloys loaned Magner and the guys the shed last night. There was a lot of drivers up, burning the midnight oil, getting their cars back together, as Owen Magner feathers the throttle in the SR22 S13 and kicks the clutch. No gearbox issues, definitely no driver issues here, Eddie, and that's a solid run from the Corkman.
Yeah, I mean, look, when you're talking about top-level drivers in this country, Owen Magner is a name that needs to be in the conversation. 86.7 on the second run, so marginally better than the first run. Two very consistent runs, but he is right up there with some of the best, and I think give it a few years' time, if he is able to put the program together, that's a guy that will be knocking on a lot of championship doors, and potentially a name for the likes of Drift Masters if he chooses to go that route. As we look to the line where Sean Owen Curry looks for his second attempt of qualifying, 82.7 on his first run, and once again, nice line here from Sean Owen Curry. I always talk about this car just looking so quick and just grips up.
Yeah,
nicely. Such incredible forward bite. Yeah, really nice transition and filling those zones nicely. Another strong run there from Sean Owen Curry. I'd say a similar enough score. Yeah,
not sure if the mics were picking up the engine across the line there, but the abuse that RB is getting is absolutely crazy. And Sean Owen Curry does improve. It's an 85. Liking the early transition there to get back on the line. So crazy commitment there from Sean Owen Curry, and putting his poor Nissan RB under severe punishment there.
Now Jason McInerney is on the line, a 77 for him. He's down the order, not what we'd expected from the man who topped qualifying at round 3. We did say his initiation looked a little bit off, Mike. Let's see, can he correct that this time around? again goes nice and early, but manages to carry the pace much better this time. Doesn't get quite as deep into outer zone 1 as he would have liked. Certainly not going to top or contend for a top spot, but it's going to be right up the order. Rides the white line all the way around outer zone 2. Nice early transition into 3. Could be a little bit deeper maybe in that zone, but again, safe enough run here from Jason McInerney. Should be an improvement on that 77 from where I'm at.
Yeah, 360 across the line as well. A dab of the handbrake as he just transitioned into 3 there, so the judges will just bring him back a couple of points for that, but it's an 82. He does improve, and that puts Jason McInerney into 22nd position. And guys, in the comments on the live stream, let us know where you're from. Drop in your national flag there. We want to see where you're from, where you're watching from. We always like to see that stuff. And of course, we have a hard charger award as well, which we will get to later on. We will be asking you for your thoughts on that one. We will be giving out that award this evening. So drop in the comments your national flag, where you're watching from. Always love to see international viewers as well, and IDS here. And we move back to the line. Very much an Irishman on the line here, Eddie.
Yeah, a typical Irishman, a man built on spuds and hard work. Johnny Flynn, man never takes a break. He's always on the road, and a very capable driver behind the wheel. But just again, we can just see how difficult it is just to keep the car on that perfect line. Drops in and out of outer zone 2, but shuts it down.
Yeah, Johnny
very
Flynn.
uncharacteristic here from Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, Johnny shutting it down and shutting it down.
Struggling with temperatures under the bonnet.
He seems to be calling the marshals there. Maybe he spotted fire or something there. Not sure. So. Yeah, so he's looking down there. Definitely the driver actually spotting something himself there, which is unusual on a run. Maybe saw something in his mirror there, felt a flash of fire possibly. Of course, sometimes, Eddie, and we see it quite a lot with Devon Leahy's car. We saw it at the Red Bull Drift Pursuit event a couple of months, or about a month back, that the rear tyres, when the exhaust backfires, the plume of smoke and the rubber off the rear tyres is so fine but so dense now that it's actually lighting people's tyre smoke, the little tiny particles of rubber, and maybe that's what Johnny saw. I'm not sure. Yeah,
it's trademark for Davin Leahy. It doesn't look to be any urgency. The initial urgency, I think, has faded. And Johnny Flynn out of the car. He will be safe for top 32. Guys, give him a round of applause. Johnny Flynn, one of the nicer guys on the grid, always there to lend a helping hand. And
he'll fix your plumbing or break your plumbing maybe.
No, he'll definitely fix your plumbing. He's quite a good plumber, and he does a lot of the work on this car himself as well. And a very capable guy behind it all. Yeah, and if speaking of the Red Bull event there, one of our title sponsors, Red Bull, if you didn't yet see the photos from the Drift Pursuit competition there in Spike Island, check that out online there on Red Bull's socials, and you can check out the driver's socials and my own even. It's an absolutely crazy event, so fantastic to see Red Bull getting involved in running such crazy one-off events like shutting down a prison island in Cork Harbour and running a crazy Drift Pursuit event there. So Johnny Flynn was one of the guys there. Yeah, just hearing it was an injector popped out for Johnny Flynn, so it's becoming a common issue, Eddie. Not good. Injectors raising from the rail. Injector Ceto cause. Yeah, it's ejectors. It's becoming a thing that's happening more often, unfortunately, and it's better to keep the fuel going into the inlet manifold and into the engine rather than externally, because if it goes externally, not so great sometimes. So yeah, hopefully all good with Johnny Flynn, no fires. So guys, once again, please can we hear a round of applause for Johnny Flynn getting across the track there. He's going to take the cone with him. King of the cone, Johnny Flynn. King of the cone, yeah. He said, you know what, I might not win here today, but if I could take home King of the Cone, sure, wouldn't that be enough? Yeah, so guys, hope you're all enjoying the day here at Bishopscourt at Diff and Drift. We see all the crowd across the way there with the deck chairs out and enjoying the fine weather here in County Down. Just about one or 2 miles from the coast, Eddie, is all we are here as well. So the beach is right over there. We're in an old World War II airfield. There's actually, as the name gives away, Bishopscourt Diff and Drift. There's a diffing area over here near the stands, and you can just bring in your road car here and have a great time. So if you're from the locality, once again guys, be sure to avail of the facilities, and there's something here for everybody. Yeah, so guys, once again, we are almost back to the line, and IDS is brought to you by Lucky Day Competitions and Red Bull. Red Bull hugely supporting Irish drifting. Lucky Day Competitions running the best competitions known to man. I actually won one of their competitions. Did you? 2 weeks. Well, what did you win? 2 weeks. I won a DJI Pocket Osmo 3 drone. It's like a little vlog camera. Oh, excellent. So vlogs coming to a screen near you soon, you know.
Excellent, Eddie. That's all we want. That's exactly what we need now. More ready.
Yeah. So I said I'll have a little bit of that competition, and
Excellent. Thanks very much.
I'd forgotten all about it, and then I saw an email saying another one. So
excellent.
it's
Strong. It's good to see more already, always. So CDM Sport as well, long-term series sponsor, driftmagazine.eu, bringing you all the up-to-date drifting info. ECU Master, great ECUs, GMD Tyre and Service Centre, Gareth and the guys with all the tyres. Group D, where you have to talk to me. Look at the competitions, and we'll get to the rest because Darryl Barnett is leaving the line.
He certainly is. After rewarming the tyres there, Darryl Barnett sits on the 84 from the first run. Just drops a wheel though, Mike. Perhaps 2 into outer zone 1, trying to push the boundaries here in this E46 BMW of his. And as we say, Darryl well able to contend for those top spots on his day. Nice fluid transition as he takes it deep into that final outer zone. But will those dropped wheels at outer zone 1 hurt the score? He is safe inside the top 32 anyway. He will be back for battle action later on this afternoon. We'll get to see a little bit more of Darryl Barnett. 18th position at the moment, a 76 on the first run, no improvement, and not a bad run for Darryl Barnett, but no improvement on that first run.
Maybe not warming the tyres quite enough there. These semi-slicks are absolutely terrible when they're cold, Eddie. They feel like driving on driving on ice, to be honest, and they're unbelievable then when they warm up. Possibly not getting the heat into the tyres there or something just going off. We move it along. It is Damien McKieran, the man behind DMAC Motors. Big massive wing on this one. ADSX loving the style of this car on a 79.7 so far. Drags the handbrake to get the car steadied into zone 2. Not sure if the judges will want to see such a handbrake drag, but still pretty much on line. Shouldn't be a huge deduction. Now gets it rotated back for 3 and transition nice and gingerly back into outer zone 4. Nothing too hectic, Eddie. Take it nice and steady, and I think it's going to see him improving a little bit.
Just a very small amount, Mike, a 0.3 of a difference, so you're very right. 80 on the board for Damien McKernan.
26th.
Yeah, 26th, and he's going to be up against it in the top 32 with some work to do, and a man who is facing down the barrel of a shotgun as well, of a difficult top 32 battle, is Paulius Judicious, who leaves the line on a 76, unless he can pull out a big score here. Can he score well into the 80s and get himself a better draw going into that top 32? Unfortunately, not with that line through the first zone, just not deep enough into that outer zone.
Yeah, not quite, but you know what, he's deep into zone 2 there. And right into zone 3, beautiful angle and beautiful proximity to the wall there from Paulius. Delicious, Judicious.
I was just about to say, Mike, if he had just had the better entry on the, better first zone, he would have been right in where it needs to be. He does score an 80, but just the wheels dropped on that last zone as well.
He might have been a bit too ambitious.
Possibly too ambitious was Paulius Judicious. So
yeah,
he's going to go back into the pits. He'll reset for the top 32, moves himself up to 27th position.
People actually thought that he was fictitious, was Paulius Judicious.
Unfortunately, Ben
real.
Rogers doesn't rhyme with Paulius Judicious, so we have to end the rhyming scheme there.
We'll get back to it.
We'll get back to the poems later on. But Ben Rogers, a man who was very helpful to me on Friday. Shout out to him and his dad for the helping hand that they gave me when I faced an electrical issue. Yeah,
Jack Rogers not present for the first time since Ben started competing this weekend, but I'm sure he's watching the live stream, and a big shout out to Jack and all the Rogers crew. Fantastic people in the paddock. Seeing a couple of flags here dropping in. We're seeing some guys from Spain, Australia in fact. Chris O'Callaghan is not competing this weekend, John Burns. A couple of Ukraine flags, the UK as well. Not sure what that one is, Lightning. If you can let us know in the comments there. Forgive my lack of geography knowledge on that one. Let us know where that is from. Kieran Stack, your comment is completely untrue in the live stream. I did not touch you in any way. I am more used to picking you up off the ground than Call of Duty when you inevitably die. So I have the microphone, that's how it works, Eddie. I get to say what I want, but game of Call of Duty with Kieran Stack maybe tomorrow night there now, and the usual helping him out when he's thrown down the ground.
I heard Kieran Stack is scared of the limiter.
I heard he's scared of the limiter as well, yeah. But we'll have to see when he comes
Probably
back
shouldn't open up this opportunity for an online war here.
When he comes back into competition with his RB30 180SX, we'll see if he's scared of the limiter.
So here we go. Ben Rogers leaves the line for his second run. 87 on the first run. Look at the entry here, Mike. Oh, but he can't make it work. Can he screw up the speed?
Oh, I think the tyres just took the impact there, Eddie.
Yeah, just a quick look at the
Yeah, I think he was on an 87, Eddie. He did the you know what we all do.
I
Guys,
don't know, Mike, did he maybe just sit on the start line for too long there? A touch too long, the tyres might have cooled.
Yeah, great call, Eddie. Yeah.
Went for a really big entry though as well. It looks like he's out of the car, guys. Give him a round of applause for Ben Rogers. Hard to see from here. It doesn't look like there's massive damage.
No, I think
it
he
looks
got
like the
away with
bumper
it.
bar might have saved it just from where we are.
There's a really thick tyre wall there, Eddie. I think there might be a bit of cosmetic damage and maybe some intercooler, oil cooler
he's
kind
frustrated
of stuff.
anyway, definitely annoyed. Guys, give him a round of applause. Quick shake of the head from Ben Rogers.
Well, I think, Eddie, what we can take from this is, it's difficult again unless you've driven in this kind of track in these conditions, which is a warming track on these tyres. It does look quite consistent out there, but if you're in the driver's seat, these cars actually are genuinely on quite the knife edge. And you made a great point there. He might have just been, as the track was getting fixed there, as we were waffling on, he might have just been sitting a little bit long on those tyres, and if they get cold, maybe he lost grip, initiated like he would have on warm tyres, and the purchase just was not there on the rears to get him around the corner, and he went off.
Yeah, I mean, we said it for Darrell Barnett, took the opportunity to come back off the line, and maybe that wasn't what the problem was. Maybe just came in too hot, did carry a lot of speed, and once you do go off that line, there's no grip at all. So you can see where the rubber marks are on the track, but as soon as you come off those rubber marks, as I found out, the hard way yesterday, the track is just really, really slippy. It just feels like ice. So
the tyres are always firing down little marbles, of course, as well, and dust. So you're actually hitting other people's rear tyre when you go off the racing line as such here. So you're dead right, Eddie. Yeah, it does get very slippy, and it's Estonia where Lightning is from. Of course, some great drivers coming out of Estonia there, Eddie, and as we see in DMEC at the moment. So yeah, great to see guys all over Europe and Australia and even the US watching us here live on IDS this weekend. And so like you said, Eddie, if you go off track a tiny bit, as is the way in many race series, you even see it in F1, they pick up the marbles from the side of the track, the tyre gets all rubbered up in certain parts. It's one of those things, it kind of adds to your problems. If you're already offline, then the next thing you're in big trouble because you've a serious lack of grip. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I would say that it's a Sylvia, Eddie. There's going to be stuff in the paddock to get it going. Hopefully we see Ben Rogers back out on
just getting
track.
an opportunity. You can just see
as we see Jay
just some piping down. It looks as though the crash bar has taken most of that damage from where I'm looking.
Yeah, look, he's actually, if you want to see, guys, you can't see it on the live stream.
Piping and everything like that, it seems to be okay.
Interestingly here, Ben Rogers is actually running 2 fans on his intercooler here, guys. So, for every couple of degrees Celsius of your inlet charge temperatures, you gain a couple of brake horsepower. You gain maybe 4 brake horsepower. So look at that. He's actually running fans on the intercooler as well as the radiator. So interesting build there from Ben Rogers. But like you said, Eddie, I think the crash bar has been definitely bent over to the passenger side, but I think the car actually looks pretty much intact. Yeah,
if you compare it to the passenger side, where the end of the bar is in line with, say, the midpoint of the tyre or the wheel, so it's gone maybe half a foot in, but it looks from here anyway. It looks from where we are that he may have just gotten away with that. It did look as though most of the speed was gone out of the car by the time he made contact. So a small shunt, but hopefully just a little bit of frustration is all it's going to be for Ben Rogers.
Yeah.
But he's safely up the order there, so he sits in 9th position inside the top 10 currently with an 87 from the first run.
Yeah, absolutely. And just seeing our sponsors flash up there, Strom Wheels as well, of course, half the grid at this stage on the Strom Wheels. A great new wheel company coming in to drifting and supporting as well, and of course running Dwayne's car for the weekend, Nisuba as well, Nisuba Motorsport, making great stuff like seat rails and all that hard to get stuff for Sylvia's and all that kind of thing. So hit those guys up if you need any of that kind of thing. TS Drift Days, Tommy Smith and the guys running track days in Watergrass Hill. Get yourself and your car down there, and we will keep you updated with the sponsors. We move it along. Eddie leaving the start line. Look at this for initiation from In the Lions on an 83.3. Wow, Eddie, he flicked it Manji the 180SX and has absolutely nailed the entry. Now powers it through the transition and dials on the lock to get it steadied up. He's bang on an outside line. Eddie, is this going to be a huge lap from In the Lions?
Yeah, if Enda keeps this going now, this has been near perfection really from Enda. It's fast, it's fluid, it's on the perfect line. It's damn exciting. I almost
Wow.
F-bombed.
Wow,
Because that
wow.
was a huge run from end of lines. Incredible stuff. It's got to be better than an 83.3 on the first run.
Oh.
It's an 88. Narrowly misses out on getting the score into the 90s. But
Yeah.
he's going to be delighted with that. Looked like he was enjoying himself, Mike. And no sign, again, of nerves for end of lines. And it looks like he's just here to enjoy the party as we move it back to the start line where there's no David Garvey for the second run. He's going to rely on that 87 from his first run.
Yeah, it's Jack Caldwell. It's not David Garvey as per the graphic. It's actually Jack Caldwell leaving the line as the graphic gets updated. Beautiful entry from Jack Caldwell. Just dabs the handbrake and now absolutely nails that outside line. Got the back wheel of the S15. Oh, but he's dropped the
dropping
wheel.
wheels, Mike. Yeah, very deep into that outer zone. Very hard to gauge where you are actually in that zone.
Touches the
And
wall.
Yeah, tap for the wall there for Jack Caldwell. Look, he has that 88 on the board. Maybe just trying to push a little bit extra hard, but drop the wheels going through that final section as well.
You drove this track yesterday, Eddie. Is it actually hard to gauge around zone 2 where you are?
It is, because the the inner of the two lines for the zone fades away quite quickly, so you can actually think that you're not in the zone and end up going deeper.
Yes.
To go over but you're then dropping wheels. So
Yeah.
it's an 80 for Jack Caldwell despite that wheel drop, and no improvement on that first run. As we go back to the start line, where it is Jack Mawhinney, who sits currently in 6th place with an 88.7, back behind the wheel of his trusty E46. And as you said, Mike, I think he's going to be missing that Corolla, because he managed to steer that car to great success here at round 2.
I actually spoke with him this morning, and he said, I asked him, if you remember correctly, they called the 5-minute rule as the clouds were coming in last time, and I asked him, did you actually call the 5-minute rule to wait to see would it rain? And he said, yes. So fantastic tactics. We're seeing it.
Gotta love the honesty as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Baldoni tells Megan, one of our media crew there, to get back to work. So Megan, get back to work. You're being told from the live stream. And Peggy McDonough is watching from America. Best of luck to Jamie Hines, she says, with 2 trophies in there. So guys, always get involved in the live stream. Get the comments in. We'll be getting you involved with the Hard Charger Award later on. And if you are here in attendance, remember, just after qualifying, we will have a treat for you guys. We're opening up the track, getting all the drivers and cars out there. We'll have a meet and greet. You can check out the cars, check out the drivers, have a chat with them, and get up close and personal with these crazy machines as we get the wall just a little bit fixed here after Jack Caldwell, because it's one of those things that if one of these blocks moves, they're perfectly in line so that the car actually skims off them, as you know, because again, you were driving this track yesterday. But if one of them gets moved back a little bit, what it can cause is it can cause the second one to turn into almost a razor blade. It's sticking out a little bit, and instead of skimming off it, the back of the car can actually catch the next block, which is now jutting out, and it can cause a huge incident basically. So very important to have, as we see number 720 there, Jacob Flagg, very important to have all the blocks absolutely dead in line with each other there. So that's why we're taking a second to fix the track here. And guys, we're going to be getting involved later on much more, getting the crowd up and at them in the battles according as the excitement levels increase here in IDS for round 4 up here in Bishopscourt. So be sure to keep some energy for that one, and we will be surely ramping up the excitement levels after qualifying and once we get into top 32 action here. And it's all to play for still here. We still have Dean Byrne in the mix. Jako Krysiak is still also in the mix. Kuba, who we saw a flag for there, the Polish flag being flown high. And should either of those two guys have a big result, Eddie, I think they're still in line for, possibly a very, very outside chance of this championship. But at the moment, it is still all about the big two hitters, the new possible new king of Irish drifting, Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever. I
don't have the numbers right in front of me, Mike, but I think they're too far behind. Obviously, Harry and Dwayne have qualified into the top 32. So
exactly, yeah.
They've got points for qualifying. They've gone into the top 32, so they've got points there. Jakob, look, he's 100 points back from Dwayne, so.
Now that Dwayne has qualified and Harry has qualified, it's going to be a big ask.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's probably a few more than 100 now, and
the boys would have to get knocked out top 32, and the other guys would have to win the event, which I don't see the boys getting knocked out top 32.
Yeah, I really think at this stage now it is a 2-horse race. I think Dean Byrne and Jakob Krysiak, I think they're fighting for a top 3 in the championship. I think that's their best hope. But even at that, I think that's a huge achievement. For both of them, particularly with the way this championship has gone and with the names that we have on the grid. Jack Mawhinney now gets ready to leave the line after rewarming those tyres. 88.7, as we said, on the first run, and really came in all guns blazing on the first attempt at qualifying, and looks to take up where he left off, because he's on an absolute killer line once again, is young Jack Mahoney. Takes it nicely to the wall, such precision. Nice, fast, snappy transition back, but does drop out of the final zone a little bit, just not as deep into that zone as he would have liked, but does fulfill the zone all the same. So I'm not sure if that would be an improvement on that first score, Mike. A good first score it was, but it's a similar score, an 88 versus that 88.7.
Yeah.
So Jack Mahoney, nice and consistent over the course of the 2 runs.
Great consistency there from Jack Mahoney. Top drivers, he's proven many times, battling some mechanicals in that car, but looking okay, that's for sure. Now we're going really into the pointy end of the championship, of course, in reverse championship order once again, guys, here at IDS, and it is round 4, of course, and the penultimate round of the season. We will be heading back to Kerry for the final of Pro Action in early September. We will have the Pro 2 final in Watergrass Hill in late August on the 24th. Now Stephen Halferty is the man making his way into the track, and that is a Stephen Halferty entry. Absolutely, pretty much inch perfect there, Eddie. Stephen Halferty, one of the best drivers to watch here. You know what you're going to get. He's so consistent and gets the car right on the right hand side very early. The big long estate BMW Touring, and just maybe a tad late with the clutch kick around the final zone, Eddie. So maybe sacrifice a tiny little bit of wideness out to the edge of the zone. But
well, Mike, look at this. Score drops in. Stephen Halferty drops into 3rd position with a 91. Jim and Mario will be absolutely delighted with that, as will Stephen. 3rd position so far. Drops Dwayne McKeever down to 4th, albeit with a run to go. Jakub Kuszczak now 84.3. Scores are starting to hot up here. And Jakub Kuszczak is coming for it here, Mike. He's coming for a big run, but just bogs down. Maybe it's a gear change there, just as he came into outer zone 2.
Yeah, crosses his own tyre smoke in the middle of the track. Looks very fluid, looks very aggressive, looks very comfortable in this car. Of course, he campaigned this to Pro 2 Championship glory next year, right on that outside line, as the drone shot shows there. 360 across the line. Guys, let's hear it for Jakub Kuszczak with a huge run.
Yeah, that was a big run, Mike. Big run from Jakub Kuszczak. Is it able to beat that 84? Is it able to contend for a 90s? No, it's an 84.7. So judges seeing some things that we might have missed, Mike.
Yeah, just liking the commitment again from Kuba there. Now Dean Byrne is a man straight driving style straight out of Japan. We don't have Ryusei Kiba, but we do have Dean Byrne, almost as good.
Yeah, well, I think he's going to have to go for something big here, Mike, because he'd be looking for those qualifying points. He is going for a big weight transfer entry. Fires it in. Just again. I mean, we're talking about inches, Mike, but those inches amount up to feet, and maybe a foot and a half off being as deep as he would have liked into that first zone. But it does make a difference on the score. It is going to impact where he is in the qualifying order going into the top 32. And for a man that's chasing 3rd position in the championship, he's going to want to be up there as far as he can to try and get some more points on the board and maybe close the gap on the guys in the top 2 championship positions. But will it be an improvement for Dean Byrne? A slight improvement, 85.3. He stays in 15th position. You
know what, Ed? We have Lee Scott on the grid. We have Dylan Garvey. We have all those guys who have been at the top level. But I think in terms of qualifying, at least these 2 last drivers, they are a step above. It is Harry Kerr leaving the line.
Yeah, Harry Kerr leaving the line with that score of 93. He is the man to beat, but can he beat his own score here and go deeper and faster through the course? Can he take it to the wall now? Just hammers the limiter. Such an aggressive driving style from Harry Kerr. He always just rides the line, but he seems to just make it work. Big angle as he flicks onto the wall. This is spectacular from Harry Kerr, but he's not going to improve on that first run because he's not as deep into that final zone. But certainly, from a visual point of view, it was absolutely spectacular. But it does open the door.
He does improve.
He does improve. A 94.3 from the judges from Harry Kerr. Wow.
First position still for Harry Kerr, and opens up the gap a little bit more to Dylan Garvey there. And Eddie, we were literally I was looking around the tower there at the end. People were wincing in the tower at the abuse and the noise coming out of that 2JZ there. So crazy stuff. But Dwayne McKeever is on the line, the Northern Smoke Machine, Eddie. You know this guy's driving better than anybody. Do you think he can do it?
He absolutely can, Mike. Will he do it though? That's the question that we have to ask. In the borrowed car from Strom Wheels, a series sponsor, Dwayne McKeever fills that outer zone perfectly, and he's asked the question here not only of Harry Kerr but also of Dylan Garvey and Stephen Halferty, and he won't like the idea of being down in 4th position. He won't like the idea of not being top, but can he take that top spot? Can he go 95? He takes the rear end off the car as he comes by that outer zone tree. switches it back, fills the final zone across the line. Bishopscourt makes some noise for the former Irish champion, Dwayne McKeever.
Wow, Dwayne McKeever, I think technically a little bit better than Harry in places, especially over the final bit.
But Mike, the score drops in and it's only a 93.
I was just
and I say
gonna
only, but it's only good enough for second position, meaning Harry Kerr, who has outgunned Dwayne McKeever so far this championship season, going into the final 2 rounds, now out-qualifies him. It's Harry Kerr with a 94, Dwayne McKeever in second with a 93, Dylan Garvey takes third with a 92.7, Stephen Halferty in fourth with a 91, and rounding out your top 5, Pro 2 junior driver with an 89. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Jamie Hines. What a performance from that young man.
Yeah, fantastic to see such a young driver making it into the top 5 in pro competition after making it up from Pro 2 competition yesterday. I was just saying there, I think Dwayne might have been a little bit more tidy than Harry, technically a little bit tidier, but Harry had the aggression, had the impact, had the wow factor, and overall just pipped him there by 1.3 points to the top of qualifying. Mark McKevitt absolutely scraping in there with a 59.3 in 32nd position. So a couple of mechanicals there, meaning we actually only did have 32 cars for qualifying. So Adrian Wheatley in 31st as well, they're just scraping in. So that is your top 32 guys here for IDS round 5 or round 4 in fact, pro competition. And it is absolutely a crazy qualifying session just gone into the books. So Eddie, we're going to get all the cars out on track pretty much right now. I wouldn't be touching Harry Kerr or Dwayne McKeever's engines or anything.
I wouldn't be touching anybody.
Probably not.
Just keep
Definitely wouldn't be
yourself.
touching Harry or Dwayne, or not their engines either.
But no, look, guys, come down to the track, but we need to let the drivers know as well, apparently, because the drivers haven't been told. So drivers, if you have time, if your car is running and it's ready to go for top 32, if you bring it down to the track, and for that fan meet and greet.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. We will be doing a quick couple of interviews as well with the drivers, so stay tuned for that, and we will be back in action, Eddie. I would say, what time is it now, Eddie, as I get up my phone? It's only half one, so 3 o'clock I would say would be just before 3 o'clock. We should be back in action, guys, so keep an eye on the YouTube. We'll be back live bringing you top 32 battle action here from IDS round 4 here in Bishopscourt, Diff and Drift, and I hope you all enjoyed qualifying, guys. We are looking forward to the battles. We have a championship that is still right up in the air. Harry Kerr has taken 11 points from qualifying, Dwayne McKeever has taken 10, so they are still pretty much in a dead heat at the top of this championship. Should be a crazy evening. Neither one of them are going to give any inch at all in this one, and they will actually be at opposite sides of the battle bracket, being first and second in qualifying, so you could actually see a Harry Kerr and Dwayne McKeever final, theoretically at least, later on this evening. So absolutely crazy action in store, so be sure to join us once again, guys, just before 3 p.m. for IDS round 4 top 32 battle action. Thank you.
This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we do. That's me. That's right. That's me. That's right. That's me. Damn right. This is how we